What makes the perfect coquito?
That heavy.
I actually, believe it or not, I like the coconut chunks in my coquito.
Do you?
I do. I that little clot of coquito. Like, I don't know. It just makes me feel like it's real.
Stick with 2 C's.
That bargo, yeah, right there, yo. I do love that. The balance has to be right with the sugar, like not being too sweet.
I do
Your
agree.
stomach's gonna hurt, but like also like it is coquito and it is supposed to feel like dessert in a way. The right balance of like sugar and alcohol because how many times have you had coquito and be like, is there alcohol in this? Some people it's because they just like the math is there where you don't taste it, but the effect will come through.
Right.
With other people, you're like, tú no pusiste nada aquí. You charge me $25 for this bottle, and I'm not gonna get lit.
Right.
I think it's that, and also a mí me gusta con mucha canela.
That was gonna be my answer.
Yeah.
I need the cinnamon. I need that cinnamon. I need like the balance of it. I really appreciate the fact that you make vegan coquito, because for me, like I can be sitting there drinking that all year. But that's kind of like I like when I can feel like I'm indulging and enjoying and like being part of the moment, the conversation, the celebrations, but without like feeling physically worse the next day or whatever. Like from alcohol, that's one thing, but from milk, not with it.
Cheche will get
so
you.
I love a vegan coquito, to be honest.
It's part of the reason why I made the vegan, because I can't drink milk.
Yeah.
Like
and then we can all be part of it.
Yeah, right. Everyone can. It's not like, oh, I can't have it because there's dairy. It's like, you know what? Let me switch it up. You get shade from the old school folks.
I know.
You know, it's like, eso no es coquito.
And the thing is that their elders told them that what they made wasn't coquito either. So at this point, I'm like, guys, we're gonna loop around the back. We'll find it.
Do people ever give like their opinions about whether your coquito is like up to par with like their standards for, you know what I'm saying? Because like to the point of this conversation, like everybody has, para los gustos existen los colores.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I think everybody has their own way of making it. You know, everybody is very, you know, when it comes to the tradition of the ingredients or the recipe, no one makes it better than my abuela, you know that. So you go along with that. So even if it could be a crappy coquito, people would be like, yeah, this is the best one ever because mommy made it, you know. So I have people in the past be like, it's all right, you know, but you know, I don't really care about people not liking it or not. I would never say my coquito's the best, you know. I just focus on consistency, you know, and just putting it out there, right? You know, and let the folks like this.
That's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
delicioso.
I mean, I mean, people keep coming back year after year, you know. So it's like, and for me, if it wasn't good, I wouldn't do it. And I don't think it's mine, it's the best, you know. But it's like, I believe that if something is good, you share it. I remember one time, that first or the second year that I made it, I was living in Jersey at the time. I had a suitcase, like a maleta. I had a maleta with 18 bottles, like 7 t-shirts, and I took the New Jersey Transit bus to 42nd Street, and I was delivering bottles to Queens, the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and then I ended in Brooklyn because my family was out here. So I like mapped it out. So it was like just one of those things that just kind of took off, and it wasn't like I wanted to make it a thing, but people kept asking for it.
I'm hearing the bottles clanking.
I know.
And like the police stopping.
I have the photo. I'll post the photo. This is where I'll insert the photo in the episode.
Yeah.
You see the maleta chilling next to the New Jersey Transit bus stop.
I have to say, now the next time I see a person walking through Midtown with like a full out maleta, I'm going to be like, you don't know what's in there. It could be anything, but it could be coquito.
It could be. That's kind of like how I started. Then the next year I did the same thing. This was 2012 when I made it Brooklyn Coquito. Yeah. Because I wanted it to represent like where I was from. Like I was raised in Bushwick, but I was born in Puerto Rico.
Right.
So it was like a combination of Brooklyn and like a combination of the things that made me.
Yeah.
And then from there it was just like, all right, every year people just knew that I was going to make it. And it was like, all right, I got to deliver now. I can't like not do it. I can't like give it a name, put it all out there and stop. You know, so to this day it's like, it is what it is, you know. And yeah, it's been fun.
I have to say, for the past like couple years, every single year consistently, my managers, my agents, everybody gets a bottle of coquito with like a little bow. That's like what I do. It's like, but it's a great way to also like invite people into like what we grew up with, or like our stuff, like our special sauce, I guess, like when it comes to like our culture.
So
Because I think that we're
normalize.
asked so much as artists to deliver that anyway, right? And so it's a really great way like that I've found to like share that a little bit with like my team and stuff.
It's also like a great way to be like, okay, I'm so used to gifting people, you know, things from their culture.
That's
Yeah, and it's just like it sometimes is exhausting always to cater to people that way in a world where you feel like yours is uncatered to.
right.
And so to then give Coquito, it's like, hey, I know I'm giving you bomb product.
Yes.
A bomb gift.
You're welcome.
And it's in my wheelhouse. It's something that I know, and it is personal, and it is cultural.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe you'll learn something.
Exactly.
Not that that's the intention.
No, but like in a yes.
I gotta tell you, everything you just said is 150% true for me. You know, because it's something that I'm making. You know, it just makes it even more special. Whereas, like, as opposed to me going and buying something, which is okay, especially because of all those reasons. It's like it's something that came from me. It's something that I'm continuing for 12 years. You know, and it's like special. It being part of our tradition, keeping our culture alive, just having to educate people on it that don't know about it is always fun too. So I think that's the reason why I continue to do it.
Word.
Right? Those cups are looking a little empty, so I don't know. I think we should finish.
I agree with you.
It's so good.
So mecha, Marimat.
To bring everything back together, we spoke about family, we spoke about culture, heritage, we spoke about our art. In what ways do you feel that your culture, your heritage, fuels your art, or vice versa?
For me, when I first started working professionally, a lot of my work was playing dudes who were drag queens. And in developing my altar, my drag altar, I would look at the women in my family. So it was like, how does my mom and my sister, how do they posture themselves? How do they cross their legs? Okay, what kind of earrings would they wear? And as I get older, I just lean into my relatives more and more. And I was talking to Yana earlier about like how sometimes I feel like I'm downloading a character. Something random will happen. One time I went to go lift my pants up during it was a self-tape for an audition. And I went to go lift my pants, and I don't know why, the way I bent, I thought, yo, who is that? That's somebody, that's a character. And I was like, I've always wanted to do like a Joe Pesci gangster type of character. I always look at him as like, because he's a fellow short dude who does like lead work. I'm like, okay, if Joe Pesci could do it, I could do it. I was like, that's a Joe Pesci stance. And I just sat with that for a couple weeks. And then one day I thought, I love like the body fashion in the 70s, like that Afro body Bronx salsa culture, a lot of oranges, a lot of browns. I was like, let me just lean into that. Let me start growing my hair out, kind of a little more fro-y. That just started happening naturally. And like a couple months later, I got this audition for this TV show called Welcome to Chippendales. And long story short, I ended up booking that character. And it was a gangster from the Bronx, a real life character, had fro-y curls, had like light eye, green eyes like me, Afro Puerto Rican, the color palette in his clothes. It was like everything made sense. Spirit was guiding me towards this thing, or intuition was. And what I realized was, I was like, I think this is my Tio Motuca, Tio Miguel. Like, I think there's something about him. And then it became this thing where I was stimulated by knowing that I was honoring him. And so like over the years, this has become a thing. I sort of pick a relative that is in the wheelhouse of the character, and it's so much easier than like trying to create someone, because like I know this person, right? And it's free, you know. So I use that, and just to give you an idea of like how cool it is. Sometimes I think like what you call in, all of us. Like I remember being on set for Chippendales, and I had to drive a car one day on set, and I show up and they were like, "Yo, we got a Bronco for you," and I was like, "Nah." That's wild. My uncle drove a Bronco.
Shut up.
The uncle that I literally modeled. He drove a Bronco as a kid. Like that was the car that I imagined him, that character, driving. And the director said to me, she's like, "Oh yeah, we were at a meeting and they were like, what kind of car you want Ray to drive?" And she was just like, "I don't know." I just paused for a second. I went, "I want a Bronco." Something told me, Bronco.
Wow. That's beautiful, because Castro's daughter is based on Alina Fernandez, right? And Alina Fernandez is obviously a real person. She was on set with us shooting the movie, whatever. We're down in Colombia. But I have a tia named Alina who passed away from cancer. And she was really, really close to us. And she's like my brother's godmother. She was like literally like best friends with my mom. And when I first got the email from my agents about this movie, I was like, I'm not doing a movie about anybody related to Castro. Sorry. And they're like, read it. And by page 6, I knew that Alina is actually against her father, and that's the point of the story, is that she had the audacity to dissent and to flee. And so all of that to say, I felt my Tia, who has passed, with me through the process in such an intense way. And there was a moment when we were on set that the hair and makeup team, they were trying to plan what the look was going to be for this one scene. And it's when she's a little older and she's like getting glam, whatever. And I had this one picture of my aunt. I was like, I have an idea. And that's what we recreated for the movie.
Word.
Is like the full makeup and hair of my aunt that is now in this movie. Yeah. So it's moments like that are like just direct, where we are so in that line of storytelling and of passing along and of just like that's
I love
really
that.
cool.
Yeah, because it's also like everyone has the desire to be seen. Everyone, I
Yeah.
don't care who you are, and there is something about being able to like to have your aunt's like that photo or that replica of it. It's like she's now seen.
Yeah, and on me, it was so weird. I was like, it felt really cool. So I hear you, Bronco. I hear you.
Word. I also one of the things I'm really, really passionate about too is I love period pieces. And I love being able to like to put us back in them, because people do. We all know that what happens is like, oh, they didn't exist back then. It's like, nah, mofo, we were there. Y'all just weren't centering us in what you documented or what was written. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I have one of my girlfriends. She's a historian and she does DEI work, and she loves pop culture overall. And I was talking to her one day. I was like, I want to pick periods and like create a story in that period, or find some sort of conflict that already existed, and provide receipts that justify why someone that looks like me, or that someone looks like you or like you, would absolutely 100% hands down have been there for this thing. And she was like, baby, say less. She goes, you give me the period, I don't care where you create whatever story you want.
Yes.
And I guarantee you that I will find the receipts to prove that someone of that descendants could have been in that part of the planet at whatever time you say.
That person
and that's
exists.
why this is important. That's why I think like there's a huge unspoken, beyond the gathering, beyond the holiday of it. That's what is important about these things, is because like we've been existing and we're going to continue to exist, and we can't forget the details.
Right.
Right,
yeah. So shout out to our ancestors.
Shout out to our ancestors. And you know what, also, because with what you just said, you reminded me, we've had this convo before. I also just want to point out that Coquito, it is a cultural exchange, obviously. But it is also a part of our ingenuity and our brilliance as Puerto Ricans, because Coquito has also become an economic thing in this country.
Absolutely.
This has been a way for people to provide Christmas gifts for their kids.
Right.
This is a way to like have money in your bank account that allows you for the month where maybe you might not make it, or the layoff, or like Coquito is a part of how we survive on this mainland of the U.S. I just want to make sure
I think that deserves a cheer.
Yeah.
There's no better way to end this podcast than with that gem from both of y'all, that gem from Robin. So to that, salud.
Thank you. Salud.
This has been amazing.
We brought it back. Hey.
Robin, Anna, thank you so much. This has been beyond what I thought it would be, and I couldn't pick better guests to have sit in our living room.
My pleasure, Papa. Thank you.
To enjoy the Coquito and have amazing conversations. So
thank you for having us.
Thank you. Cheers to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week. Grab some Coquito and salud. Cheers.
Salud. Salud, mi gente.